Welcome to the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu. Today, we're going to be diving into The Upside of Uncertainty by Nathan and Susannah Furr.
Yeah.
And this one, I've got to say, is a real mind bender.
It really is. It kind of changes how you think about things, like how we're always told to avoid uncertainty,
Yeah.
Plan for the future.
Mm-hmm.
But this book flips that idea on its head.
Yeah, it really does. Instead of seeing it as something we should fear, they kind of say, embrace it,
Yeah.
you know?
Embrace the unknown.
Yeah. And even use it to your advantage.
Yeah. And I think the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu does a really good job of summarizing this core idea.
Mm-hmm.
Uncertainty is just part of anything worth doing.
Yeah.
It's always going to be there, whether you're starting a business, you're,
Right.
writing a book, you're...
Personal life, even.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
There are always going to be things we can't predict or control.
And it's in those moments where, like, the real magic happens.
Yeah.
You know?
It is. It's stepping outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah. And that's where the uncertainty first aid cross framework comes in.
Okay.
It's a practical way of thinking about uncertainty and making it work for you.
Okay, so in the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu, he breaks it down into like 4 different approaches.
Yeah.
Reframe, prime, do, and sustain.
Hmm.
What are those? I'm intrigued.
So the first one, reframe, that's all about mindset.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing it as a threat, see it as an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Be curious about the unknown instead of afraid of it.
It's not to say like throw caution to the wind.
No,
But
be
it's-
smart about it.
Yeah, change how you're thinking about the risk.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And then prime is like getting ready,
Right.
So if you're going on a, exploration,
Yeah.
you got to pack the right gear,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
think about the challenges you might face.
Have your supplies.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So that's what priming is.
All right, so not just like running into the woods blindfolded.
No. Be prepared.
Okay.
Have a plan. All right, what about do?
Well, do is all about action.
Yeah.
Taking those first steps,
Mm.
even if you don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
Experiment, learn as you go, be okay with making mistakes.
It kind of reminds me of the whole lean startup,
Yeah.
fail fast, learn fast mentality.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And then sustain is about keeping the momentum going,
Yeah. Yeah.
because facing uncertainty can be exhausting,
Absolutely.
especially over a long period of time.
Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Exactly. You need to pace yourself. You need to
Mhm.
find ways to cope with stress,
Yeah.
build a support network.
And keep believing in yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So all of that is sustain.
So basically what you're saying is the uncertainty first aid cross is about changing your mindset about uncertainty, being prepared for it,
Yeah.
taking action even if you don't know the answer,
Mm-hmm.
and then being resilient enough to see it through.
Exactly.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah, it's a really powerful way to think about uncertainty.
So, the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu, it touches on quite a few tools and techniques that they offer for each of these different parts.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really curious to dig into those a little bit more.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right,
I think you'll be surprised by how practical and helpful they are.
awesome.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
you're right.
Okay, so let's talk about some of those tools and techniques.
Yeah.
The 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu, it mentions a whole bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of curious about this whole reframe thing.
Yeah.
How do we actually change our mindset to see this as an opportunity?
Well, one way is this thing called framing.
Okay.
And it's all about choosing to focus on the positive,
Mm-hmm.
like what could go right instead of what could go wrong.
Okay, so instead of asking, what if I fail?
Yeah,
I ask, what if I totally crush it?
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like flipping the script in your head,
Yeah, I'd love that. Yeah.
And then there's this idea of adjacent possible.
Okay, what's up?
It's all about looking for those hidden opportunities.
The things that are just outside of what you normally see.
Okay, can you give me an example of that?
Yeah. So in the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu, they talk about David and Claire Hieatts.
Okay.
Remember them?
Yeah.
They moved to this town that was struggling economically.
Right.
And most people would have seen that as like a dead end.
Yeah.
But they saw an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
They brought back the town's denim industry.
Oh, yeah?
And it became this huge success story.
Yeah. They made that cool, sustainable jeans company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they took what looked like a problem
Yeah.
and turned it into something amazing.
Yeah, they totally flipped it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the power of adjacent possible.
So it's kind of like being open to those unexpected possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And not being afraid to just try things out.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, so
Yeah.
then we have prime, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do we actually prepare for this whole uncertainty journey?
Well, one thing you can do is set up some uncertainty balancers.
Okay, what are those? They're basically like safety nets,
Okay.
things that help you mitigate the risk.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be like having some savings
Okay.
or having a strong network of people you can rely on.
Right, just in case things go south.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It just gives you that peace of mind.
Okay, so it's like that feeling of security
Mm-hmm.
that allows you to actually take those risks.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we get to the do phase.
Right.
This is where we actually start taking action.
Yeah.
So what are some tools that can help us with that?
Well, there's this really cool concept called bricolage.
Bricolage.
Yeah, it's a fancy word for resourcefulness,
Right.
like being able to make do with what you have.
Okay, so it's like that whole,
Yeah,
entrepreneurial, scrappy.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not waiting for the perfect conditions.
Right.
You're just getting started.
Just go for it.
Yeah, and that's really important with uncertainty
Mm-hmm.
because you never have all the information up front. You got to be willing to experiment and improvise.
I feel like that quote about, if you're not embarrassed by the first version of your product,
Yeah,
you launch too late.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's all about iteration.
Yeah. Love that.
And then there's the 10,000 shots principle,
Yep.
which is all about persistence.
Mm-hmm.
You got to keep trying.
Shooting your shot.
Exactly. And you're going to miss sometimes.
Right.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
You learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
And you keep going.
It's like any athlete or musician.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't just become amazing overnight.
They put in the hours.
Yeah.
They practice.
They fail a lot.
They fail a lot and they keep going.
Yeah. And then sometimes that leads to pivoting too, right?
Yes.
Like the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu, he mentioned Slack and YouTube.
Mm.
Started as completely different things.
Yeah.
And then they kind of evolved.
They pivoted.
Yeah.
They saw what was working and what wasn't,
Mhm.
and they adapted. So that's a key part of navigating uncertainty as well.
So do is like take action,
Mm-hmm.
be resourceful,
Mm.
experiment,
Yeah,
and be okay with pivoting.
exactly.
Love it.
All right, so are you ready to move on to sustain?
Yeah, let's talk about sustain.
This is the long game.
Right. How do we keep going when things get tough?
Yeah, because they will get tough.
Yeah.
It's all about building resilience.
Okay, how do we do that?
Well, the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu talks about something called emotional hygiene.
Okay, emotional hygiene. What's that?
It's basically taking care of your mental and emotional health,
Okay.
just like you would take care of your physical health,
Right.
because uncertainty can really mess with your emotions.
Yeah.
One minute you're excited, the next you're
Oh, and
scared.
You're up and down.
Exactly. So you got to have some ways to deal with that.
Yeah.
The Furrs suggest things like mindfulness or meditation,
Mm-hmm.
even just writing in a journal.
Okay.
It helps you become more aware of your feelings so you can manage the stress and anxiety.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of mindfulness myself.
Oh, yeah.
Helps me stay grounded.
Yeah, it's like a muscle.
Mm-hmm.
The more you practice, the stronger you get.
Yeah, and it's not just about doing things on your own right.
No, not at all.
No.
The 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu also talks about having a good support network,
Right.
people you can talk to who get it.
Yeah, just having people there can make all the difference.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
And then there are reality checks,
Okay.
which are all about taking a step back,
Mm-hmm.
looking at things objectively.
So kind of balancing that optimism with a dose of reality.
Exactly.
Right.
You need to be able to see things clearly
Right.
without letting your emotions cloud your judgment.
So how do we do that?
Well, you can ask for feedback from people you trust.
Okay.
You can gather data to back up your assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
You can even challenge your own beliefs.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, but it's important. It's all about making sure you're not fooling yourself.
Right.
That you're seeing the situation for what it really is.
Okay. I like that. And then there's this whole idea of magic, right?
Yeah, yes.
The 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu mentions it, and I'm curious.
It's about believing in the possibility of the unexpected.
Okay.
That even when things seem uncertain, amazing things can still happen.
Like that childlike wonder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about being open to the mystery,
Mhm.
trusting that even if you can't see the path forward, there's still magic at play.
So it's about holding on to that belief,
Yeah.
even when things get tough.
Even when things get tough. Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
So we've talked about reframing uncertainty,
Mm-hmm.
preparing for it, taking action, and now sustaining our efforts.
Yeah, we covered a lot of ground.
We did, and The 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu gave us some really cool tools
Yeah, it's a great
to
resource.
put all this into practice.
Definitely.
So what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this?
I'd say it's that uncertainty isn't something to be afraid of. It's
Mhm.
just part of life.
Yeah.
And if you can learn to embrace it, even use it to your advantage,
Yeah,
that's where the real growth happens.
I love that. So
Well,
well said. Thank you for joining us today on our deep dive into the upside of uncertainty. And don't forget to check out the 1 Hour Guide website for more brilliant business insights from Anil Nathu.